G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action. I am back with part 2 of my metal CD collection update. Got a pile here to take a look at, so let's get into it. As I mentioned on the last video as well, this is a members first video, as I'll probably be doing with most of my videos going forward. So if you want to sign up to my YouTube channel membership, I think that's what we're supposed to call it, it's 99 cents US a month, and just press the button down below and you get first access to these videos. Otherwise, they come out 24 hours or so later for regular viewers, and your support is appreciated. So the first of the two discs at the start here I want to take a look at were sent to me by Morbus Chapel Records. They wanted me to take a look at these and talk about them for you. So I'm going to talk about them for you because they are both putrid and disgusting. And the first one here is Casket Flesh, Buried Beneath Human Remains. Great cover on that. It reminds me of something. I can't quite picture it. It's been like etching at the back of my brain for a while, like what this is reminding me of. And I can't just quite nail what it is, but I don't know. I'll get there somewhere. Anyway, this is a Washington-based band, Casket Flesh. They are a fully fledged six-piece, would you believe? Vocals, bass, drums, rhythm guitar, lead guitar, and one dude that's dedicated to just the spooky intros and interludes. So yeah, there you go. Quite a arrangement there of members. And with so many members, I was surprised that it was such a stripped-back death metal attack. It's straight up, no water, no ice, to the point of sounding ancient. It's got verse and chorus structures, which was nice. So it's like almost like sing-alongable if you want. But it's really ancient sounding, and like it's slower to mid-paced. There's like a late 80s thing going on here to early 90s. No blast, just plug in and play death metal grooves. It's all about the grooves on this thing, and ugly grooves at that. Guitar feedback at the start and finish of every song, just to hammer home that this is just like, yeah, we showed up and we hit record and off we went. I'd say this is for like fans of Jungle Rot, Obituary, that kind of stuff, but with an autopsy demo attitude to it, and production for sure. It's a really filthy sounding thing. The lead track, Nights of Terror, in the chorus, I mean, he just keeps chanting Nights of Terror over and over. It's been stuck in my head for a while now, so yeah, it's an easily memorable and quick listen. This one, 6 tracks, including the intro. Got the same track list as their 2023 demo. I haven't heard that, so I don't know if this is like a re-recording or if it's just a transplant, the same tracks, and this is effectively the demo, the EP, the one thing they've done. I don't know, but this is the 2024 version of it. Buried Beneath Human Remains, as I mentioned. It's a solid, fun 20 minutes of raw, groovy, ancient-sounding death metal. Give it a spin. The next one sent to me by Morbus Chapel Records for you guys to check out. This is the self-titled release from Cryptal Echoes. Great name for a band. Austrian death doom power trio. Noxious Ruin did the tape of this, so that might give you a little bit of an indication of what you're going to be in for when you pop this CD in. Slow and swampy and incredibly analog sounding. Similar to that Casket of Flesh, you get the impression they just plug in and play. Down-tuned guitar, deep gutturals, pounding sluggish drums, bordering on funeral doom. The production is so analog, you almost go into sort of stoner doom territory on this. The fuzz on the guitars and the analog drum sound, like, it's pretty immense. If you took that Troll Cave EP from last year and recorded it live on a Tascam with Autopsy's gear, then you probably get something that sounds like Cryptal Echoes, I reckon. Moments like the third minute on the self-titled second track, Cryptal Echoes, which is quite a lengthy one there, 6 minutes 38. That is kind of like, it's faster. They really rip the pace up a lot on that kind of track. The third track, Consumed in Dissolution, comes in with a bit more of a swagger that just again made me go, yeah, there's a little bit of that desert doom band stuff going on here as well. It really isn't like the predominant flavor. This is death doom with some sort of funeral doom in there, but they do have sprinklings of that kind of very hot, sandy kind of desert doom stuff as well. And out of nowhere, which was really, really weird, the fourth track, Spiritual Torture, is 1 minute and 44 of basically grindcore. Bit of death metal, bit of death grind, but it's basically a grindcore track. So yeah, that was surprising. Yeah, it's pretty varied. So safe to say, like if you like that Cryptal, if you like it ugly, then you're gonna like Cryptal Echoes. I think I like the demo cover as well. There, nice presentation. 3 guys all rising out of the tombs there, and yeah, a little solid release there from Morbid Chapel Records. Next up, we have some Finnish black metal that shares band members for the 2 albums I'm going to talk about. The first one here is the second release from Grieve, Grieve, Wolves of the Northern Moon. Initially, this was a one-off project. Well, they said at the time it was going to be a one-off project with Werewolf from Satanic Warmaster and V Chaos of Vargrav. They've collaborated on other stuff before. They released the album Funeral in 2022, which was, as they said, basically a love letter to second wave black metal. Every track on that was like instantly recognizable as coming from, like, rooted from something else, be it like Bergsom or Dark Throne or Early Emperor. Kind of crossed all of the standard sort of Norwegian style black metal on that. It was really, really good. It felt like a solid homage or like a time capsule of that period, which is what they set out to do. And they did make it pretty clear at the time. I thought that it was just a one-off. But unexpectedly, a year later, they did do this follow-up, Wolves of the Northern Moon. This time with the color cover, blue. The other one was just sort of black and white. This time they've added vocalist Marcus from Desolate Shrine, great Finnish death metal band, on vocals. And this one starts off like literally he does this hawk spit, like that kind of thing to start off the album. And then it's straight into like Finnish riffs. This is way more. It may be second wave, but it's sort of Finnish and a little bit of Swedish second wave this time. The Norwegian sound is still there. Like there's a lot of resemblance of the very, very first Dot Omsgard, the very first Gorgoroth. It's pretty loose, I suppose. Very straightforward. Like if you just like the early Scandinavian black metal across the gambit, then you're gonna like this. It's mid-paced to fast, ugly, direct, does exactly what it intends to do. There's 3 guys in the back there. That's a very emperor-looking background with the portrait photos there. Disc and the guys there sort of looking misty and stuck in behind rain or something. They're barely visible. Oh no, that's because they're 3 wolves. So this is why I wear glasses. 3 wolves, but there's your 3 wolves as well. My God. Anyway, yeah, all music by V Chaos, lyrics by Grieve, mixed and mastered, produced by V Chaos. So usually a lot of Vargrav all over this one. Yeah, Wolves of the Northern Moon. It's different enough to the Funeral album that it acts as like a companion piece, and yeah, it's really good stuff. If you want another love letter to old black metal, but slightly different and a bit more focused on Finland, give this one a go. And next up, we have more Finnish black metal. This one is a 5-piece made up of members, like from the Finnish scene. Like pretty much everybody in Finland plays in some kind of band. And this time we've also got members from death metal band Torture Killer. This is White Death with Iconoclast. The other bands that these guys are in: Infernal Darkness, Blood Chalice, and Grieve that we just mentioned. This is really super catchy, very riffy black metal. Very, very similar to that Satanic Warmaster album, Armonganda from a couple of years ago. Like very, very, very similar to that stuff. Pretty fast, snappy, highly melodic riffs. Not all blasting, but it does go pretty fast. It's got room for some good songcraft in here. Pretty lengthy at 52 minutes, 11 tracks. Lyrically, this is just Satan, more Satan, death, and some Satan, which you can pretty much tell from the cover. I mean, I looked at the first time. I went, well, I don't know what's really going on here. Then I looked at it closely and went, that's 4 dead white rats. Then if we really want to scare off YouTube a bit, there's some more dead rats there, and then inside there's some other dead animals and things, because it's all about decay, death, Satan, whatever. Um, and it's yeah, just absolutely solid, raging finished black metal, very much for that modern sense, like that later Satanic Warmaster. Vitran has very highly raspy vocals and an aggressive vocal style. It works really well on this. Um, there's a track on here, Summon Bestiae. Which one was that? Yeah, out in the middle there, Summon Bestiae or Bestiae. That was the highlight one for me. Great riffs, a bit of a rocking tempo on that one. The last track, Deathstruction, which is a bonus track. And when I was listening to it, I'm like, oh, that's got to be a cover. No, no, it wasn't. It's basically a punk track, like black punk or something, or black punk rock. Stood out like a sore thumb. And I looked it up to see, oh, is this a cover? Not only is it not, it is like the video clip. They did a video clip for that track. You can find it on YouTube. Just them sort of fart assing around in a backyard or something like that. But yeah, very different to the rest of the tracks on here. So it does feel like a cover. It's a good track. It's just sort of like, wow, this was unexpected. Um, but yeah, good one. A very different vocal approach too. It's more sung. So yeah, it does sound like a different band. But yeah, it's a good track. And yeah, overall though, this thing Iconoclast is very, very easy to digest, very easy to listen to. Like I said, it's melodic, it's scathing, it's got all the aspects of sort of modern Finnish black metal, modern melodic black metal that you're going to like. Yeah, good stuff here. White Death, Iconoclast. Definitely give this one a go if you like the bands I mentioned. Yeah, it's good stuff. Going to the United States this time, we have the debut full length from a new US black metal band, a two-piece with a guest drummer on this one. This is Ossilegium, good band name. I like that one. Ossilegium with The Gods Below. This is dissection and necrophobic all over. I mean, definitely not trying to hide it. Definitely the name of the game here, particularly necrophobic. I think sort of like your Blood Hymns era necrophobic. I mean, that's where we're going here with Ossilegium. Very tasty Swedish style riffs, but coming out of America. The band is from Chicago. So there's this extra, like when I say it's more to necrophobic than dissections, because I feel a real thicker, heavier sound coming into this, which is, I know I'd like to say it's sort of the American influence. It's just a bit more crushing overall. The vocals are deeper than those other bands. They're kind of barked out and yeah, quite deep, so it's not raspy. The track 5 on here, you might be able to read the back, it's a bit hard. The dark font on black, The Heart of Darkness. That's a bit more of a short acoustic piece with like dual guitars and very dark and ominous. And it's quite a lush sounding track, that. Whereas track 6, To Reach Eternal Ends, that comes in with a sort of D beat, a chunkier riff that shows that US edge again, I think, to the sound. Pretty obviously. And then the title track. The title track, though, The Gods Below, is got full Sumberlane riffs through it. So, like, if you just like the classic Swedish black metal sound, but a little bit a bit more oomph to it, a bit more of an American slant to it, and you don't just want like an emulation band like Tholkandra, give this one a go from Ossilegium, The Gods Below, because I think you're going to like it. I'm a big fan of this next band, and by picking this one up, I now have pretty much everything. I think everything full length wise from the band. I'm talking about Drawn and Quartered. This is Proliferation of Disease. They're out of Seattle. They have been strong on that immolation and incantation sound since their inception in 1996. Been around a long time. So much to that point where you can't say they're like following in the footsteps of those bands, because they were basically peers at the same time. A decade before Dead Congregation were even born, they were doing this sound. And I honestly think they just get overlooked. In general, I think they get overlooked. I mean, if I mention the band, people will go, I love that band. But in general, Drawn and Quarter just don't get the love they should. And these guys have never wavered in their approach. They've always been playing this dark, brutal death metal sound in that immolation and incantation kind of approach. That sound, I mean, that it's just what they do. It's what they've always done. 8 full lengths, bunch of EPs in there, splits. Back in 2016, though, they released this thing, Proliferation of Disease, which is on Metal Archives listed as a demo. And you can see why. 2 full lengths have come out after this. I don't see any of the tracks on this demo having been redone. They seem exclusive to this release. So in that sense, this is less a demo and more like an incomplete or an unmastered album. It's very raw in the production. The rhythm guitar is quite buried. The kick drums are buried. It's mostly lead guitar and vocals, a bunch of snare. So it's a furious attack, right? And it's pretty ugly sounding. It might sound like it's not worth it by the description, but you get used to it pretty quick. If you're a fan already of the band, then it's fine. You're not going to read any of the back. It's dark red on black, whatever. It's a very hard thing to see. Let's see. You can do the inside there. And this probably tells you everything. They're just playing live, basically. Nice looking CD there. The classic artwork replicating the front. And look, I'm just not sure why this wasn't, I guess, finished. Like, they got 85% of the way there. Why it wasn't mastered, turned into a full-length album? Are we going to see these tracks later appear mastered somewhere else? I have no idea. I wouldn't think so after 9 years. But so yeah, it's a bit of a puzzle to me. Maybe they just had the inkling to just like, we've got so many ideas. We want to belt out some tracks, and then we want to get on with some other things, go on a tour or whatever. I don't really know the full story behind this thing, but yeah, it's still really, really good and worth your time. But I'd say it's for well-seasoned fans of Drawn and Quartered. I mean, for me, I bought stuff, all the early things. I had the later things, and this is the last one for me to get because I knew it was a bit of a demo, had demo quality to it. And I figured I'll just get this one when I can. And I ended up getting it incredibly cheap in the Dark Descent sale. A bunch of this stuff today came from Dark Descent sale. And a bunch of it came from the Underground Force sale I mentioned last time. But yeah, so probably not the one I'd say go and listen to this album first if this is your introduction to the band. But I'd still say it's pretty essential listening for existing fans of Drawn and Quartered. Next one is Morbus Grave, Feasting the Macabre, an Italian quintet. They've been a band since 2010, but entirely new to me. Again, I found this one in the Dark Descent sale just by going through stuff and like looking at the covers and go, wow, that is impressive. And I don't know who these guys are, so I gave it a listen. And I was impressed. They got plenty of demos and EPs, but their first full length wasn't until 2022. They did an album called Lurking into Absurdity, but this is the 2024 album. Came out last year, didn't even know about it. Feasting the Macabre. The first thing to say on this, if you're a fan of bass guitar, this sounds like electric fencing wire bass guitar. Like it is just a twangy, high gain kind of thing, and it stands out. So if you like hearing bass prominently, all right, give this one a listen just based on that. It's not overpowering. It's not like Primus or something silly, but yeah, it's right there, and it's not just playing rhythm guitar riffs either. So something to check out. But for me, this one really shines when the lead guitars come in. Mostly, this is a very early, ugly death metal sound with plenty of D beat. There's the back. There's the guys with little photos there on the back. Somewhere between Necrophagia and Autopsy for a lot of the sound on here. But then the leads come in, and we're getting into that Triaxitote and early 90s Sweden. Because it's when the leads come in, they also change the pace quite frequently. The lead guitars will come in, and it'll all just half in pace. And we're into early Dismember. Even Finland is some early Amorphous when they do that. They slow down, and the leads just take on that melodic, emotive sound that I always love in early death metal. So that's really cool. Pace does vary from sort of heavy and slow with meandering double bass, sort of up tempo thrashing, feeling like that 1988, 1989 Altars of Madness kind of stuff, like that thrashier kind of death metal. Vocalist Erman actually sounds a little bit like early Dave Vincent at times. All 5 members are in other bands. Like I said, there's the band photo there. Take a look in here. There is a very death metal looking photo there. Look at them all standing in rubble, all doing some. We got some folded arms. We got some lunch boxes. We got some frozen oranges. I mean, Jeff, you're going to be happy with that photo, I think. Good stuff. And the cover artwork is fantastic. That's what drew me in on this. So good. But yeah, the band members, two of them in one called the Right Black Doom Band. But yeah, for me on this, it's when Morbus Grave give us that slower double pace drums, and then the sort of that Euro sounding guitars. That's when they hit home for me. Lots of that tremolo kind of stuff mixes in there, but they really are across all kinds of different death metal here. Whole package is great, but I love it when they go a bit Swedish, a bit Finnish. The title track itself is very old school sounding, has a lot of D beat, smattering of blast in it. They're not a blast heavy band, but on the title track there's a bit in there, um, and a bit of a headbanging change up on that one that kind of really satisfied before it went back into more blasts. So yeah, the title track is a really good standout as well. It's really short, only goes for 28 minutes and a few seconds. That includes an intro, an interlude, and an outro. So you're not expending a lot of effort to listen to this one. The songs are in the sort of 3 to 4 minute mark. Yeah, 10 tracks, including intro, outro in the middle. And yeah, it's just a solid release that plays all kinds of death metal. Comes out on Memento Mori, Feasting the Macabre from Morbus Grave. Recommended. Check it out. Next up is a killer, and I mean really killer, 3-track 2023 EP from a Bangladeshi band, and I don't get to say that very often. This is Kaal Akuma with Turiya, Turiya. Is how you say this one. This is just outrageously good. The opening track, Ego Death, is an 8-minute demonstration of long division and 4-unit algebra. We're talking Gorguts Obscura as the bass on this thing. It's just like it hits you with those angular guitars, and the patterns change every 5 seconds. But they do pull back. This is the thing with these guys. I wouldn't just say this is just Gorguts Obscura, because that thing needs like a maths degree. This does pull back a little bit on the weirdness and gets darker than Gorguts would do, and you start getting that early Bolzer feel in there as well. But overall, I mean, this thing is still just a ferocious juggernaut, and this is just the first track I'm talking about. Twists and turns every half minute. Vocalist Rivu, he is a beast, reminding me very much of Thomas from Lucifer. Just his big sound, like a dominating guttural sound to him. The drums are pretty complex, all over the map, all the time. Just you got to try and keep track of what's going on. The guitars go from sort of dissonant, Lovecraftian sounding death metal to chunky, I don't want to say gent-like riffs, but there's a lot of like syncopation and things. And we're still in the first track here, by the way. It's just like, what was it, 8 and something minutes? Ridiculously good track. We go into the second one. This one is Tianak. It starts with more stomping double bass and a really chaotic sounding riff. Overall, this track is a more straightforward sound, a little bit of D beat in there. In the middle, a wailing guitar solo, so it feels a little bit more structured. But I mean, that's not all the case. It's just a bit more compressed. It's like a 4-minute something track, so it's a shorter listen. So it's the one in the middle. It's like, it's not quite, I don't want to say Calm Before the Storm, but not the Calm Before the Storm. I don't want to say it's the Eye of the Storm. There you go, that makes sense. But it is the middle track, and it's kind of acting as like this piece between the first and the third, like this joiner. Because then we get on to the third track, the final one. Ignorance is Bliss, and it comes in with these thundering toms and just double bass. It's just the drums. It sounds great. And undistorted, like clean picked, very rapid picked guitar. Sounds very ominous. It turns into a distorted, faster sort of black metal riff. Basically, then the vocals, they come back in, and we're a bit more raspy this time. The attack on this track, and this one's about 6 or 7 minutes. This one doesn't stop. This is just for us. Aside from the clean intro and there's a clean outro, it's just all go the entire time. The blasting drums and the pace of the guitars on this one reminds me somewhere between Ulcerate and even Portal. Like, we're getting pretty chaotic here on the guitars. It's a very, very interesting 3 tracks from these guys. There's the band looking all silhouette-y. This came out on Nuclear Winter Records. The band has got an album in 2021, a full length, that I haven't heard. But based on the strength of this EP, I absolutely have to hear it. So this is Kaal Akuma with Turiya. Highly recommended. And lastly, in this incredibly smashing and disgusting and fast and brutal and outrageously good CD update today, we have the one and only release I have from this band. This is Har, H-A-R, Har, with Cursed Creation. They are a German-based black and death metal band, but the members are all from Israel. I guess they emigrated to Germany. And this is their 2024 debut full length that came out after a few EPs, Cursed Creation. Now it's on Dark Descent, so I could just stop the record. I could just stop the review right there and say this is a 2024 Dark Descent release. Go nuts, because one, it means it's good, and two, it means you probably know where you might be getting. You look at the cover on this and the time span. Like, we are talking Adversarial, Ascended Dead, like total Dark Descent bands. The guitars are crushing on this. They are just monumental, ravenous sounding, blitzkrieg attack guitars. The drums, no slouch either. They are pretty much full fury all the time. There's some moments of to breathe, but really it is just ferocity. The snare is tight, approaching that adversarial ping, not quite, but tight. So that gives him a real snap. When he's blasting, it's snappy as. Lots of snare fills too, not just blasting. Like, I really like it when he just does the snare fills. Sounds so tight, and the musicianship on this thing is just tight. These guys are very, very well honed craft for a band that I'd heard the name Ha, but I'd not checked anything out. Like I said, a few EPs, but this is the first full length. So many bands on Dark Descent get slept on. I've said this before, and I think Ha are one of them. Absolutely, this is being slept on. I didn't check it out. I'm sure many others haven't either, so I hope you guys do. The main guitar line on the second track, Invoking Evil Spirit, there's a bunch of Portal going on that. I can almost picture those spider walk fingers going up and down the fret. Chaos. Massive dive bombs. I love my dive bombs, you know that. There's the guys looking very evil in standing in a standing. What are we standing in front of there? I don't know. Arches, big brick wall arches. I really cannot overstate the constant barrage of ferocity you're going to hit with this thing, Cursed Cremation. Creation, not cremation. If I said cremation, because I mean creation, Cursed Creation. It's like listening to like Eschaton's Horacle EP from 2023, I think it was. It just doesn't stop. It's absolutely maddening. It's so good, and it just doesn't stop. Tight, furious, black death metal. You know, Funebrarum are also in the mix here. But yeah, Ascended Dead, I reckon that's the one you go. That's the band this has got the most similarities with. And I mean, it's Dark Descent, so Matt at Dark Descent's got sort of flavor for bands a lot of the time, and Ha is absolutely one of them. So if you need a good ear cleansing, and you've already checked out Adversarial and Ascended Dead, then you need to check out Ha with Cursed Creation. This is good stuff. And that's it for the second part of this CD update. There's no third part. I think I whipped through all the CDs I want to whip through. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this one. As a reminder, if you aren't already, I've turned on the channel membership, so please consider joining, and you get early access to videos such as these, and you get your own little icon when you do comments in the YouTube comments, and also you might be lucky and they might have exclusive videos in the future. No promises, but no ideas yet either. But either way, please do like and subscribe. Check out this guy. Check out this guy. I'll see you next time.